Hi and welcome to Investopedia episode 4, where I'm explaining Dubai's map to brand new investors to Dubai. If you haven't seen my previous episodes on in the Investopedia section, I've done a whole podcast on mortgages, which is the first episode. Then I've also made a special video on how to send money across from UK and Europe over to Dubai, and what apps to use, etc., which is the second episode. And the third episode is about understanding your own budget and payment plans. If you haven't seen that, do check it out. I've seen multiple people do this, and usually they break it down into zone 1, zone 2, zone 3. But I don't think there's any one method. Even what I'm going to do today is not going to be accurate. So this is not for accuracy so much as it is about learning how to think about the map and about how to invest. So we're not learning what to think today, we're learning how to think about the map and how to assess what you are going to be doing for your investment. So there are multiple ways, and I'm going to be using a blend of different things. We're going to be looking into the culture, history, as well as what's good for who in terms of investment. But for this, I think we should start with not the map of Dubai. We're going to be starting with different cities. For example, London is what we're going to be looking at first. So now, there you have it. So any city, whether you do London or Paris or Berlin, for example, there's one central water body in most of the cities that are popular, even New York. So that this is the water body here in London is the River Thames, and then you see that civilization grew from around the river or the water body away from it. So the best piece of land is still today right next to the river, which is, for example, Westminster, etc. So it's a very similar situation here, but if you just, the first difference really is the fact that most British cities and other cities as well are circles, and that's the first difference that comes when you look at the city of Dubai. So that's our city right here, and if you take a look at how it's designed, it's more like a rectangle. So if I just go back to this, this is our city, and the rectangle is somewhat like this. And just to give you a brief on the water body point, we had this water body right here, this one. So this is what got extended, and then they pushed it out through here. But originally, historically speaking, so this was the main thing right here. This is where, when the local Emiratis today, we all know what people say about them and how wealthy they are. But there was a point of time when they used to farm or fish for pearls, and they would trade this with the Indians in exchange for spices and food. And that's how bad things were at one point of time. So that's the historic context for this.
ذاكرتي وطفولتي كلها مرتبطة في البحر، ومرتبطة في الخور اللي فيها، ومرتبطة في النباتات اللي كانت تنبت في المنطقة، ومن أهمها أشجار القرم أو أشجار المانغروف.
So this is where the city started from. These are the roots for the city. So that's where you might have heard about Deira, Old Dubai, but Dubai. Deira is where Dubai began, which is why the buildings that look like they still believe that the internet is a rumor. One of the most important things to sort of get your head around. Now, this is a map we made, but also this is not going to be 100% accurate again, but this is just for a basic understanding. So all the grayed out sections you see here, this is where the city started from. All of the grayed out sections here are leasehold. And there are two kinds of leasehold which we'll quickly understand. One is when I say this is not for sale. So no matter how much money you bring, you're not going to be able to buy that at all. So there's no point discussing that. And that's reserved for GCC nationals, which means Bahrain, Qatar, Saudi, Oman, etc. So it's not for us. So that's one kind. And the second kind of leasehold is where you can buy, although I wouldn't recommend it. Freehold versus leasehold in Dubai is a bit like dating. Freehold is like traditional marriage, you have it forever. Leasehold is like a situationship, 99 years at best. Leasehold is like a free trial, You get full access and everything's great until one day someone comes up and checks the subscription. So we're only going to be discussing freehold for the purposes of the video. I don't recommend leasehold to any of my international investors, but there are very small limited use cases where that might be an option for some people. But this is where the urban planning and the idea of developing this place into a beautiful city came from. And then, studying cities and how they grew is just so interesting, and the urban planning, it sometimes turns me on. So just to start off with, learning about road networks in Dubai and connectivity is probably more important to a Dubai investor than the human rights. So if you look at the map of Dubai, the main road, like the strip in Vegas, is this one. This is Sheikh Zayed Road. So this is the main road that everyone talks about. This is where you see the videos of the skyscrapers on your left and right, and it crosses through downtown, etc. That's your main road. Then you have Al Khail Road going there, and then you have Mohammed bin Zayed Road, which these are all motorways, by the way, that goes to Abu Dhabi and Sharjah. Then you have Emirates Road. This is the last one. So this is the last. So these four, I think, are the most important that you should know about. So that's one. So just to go a little bit about how the urban planning started, this is where, like I said, Dubai was back 20-30 years ago, and then about 25 years ago, 22 years ago, they announced the launch of Marina and JBR and the Palm, as well as downtown. Downtown is where you'll find the Burj Khalifa, Dubai Mall, and about 14,000 people simultaneously trying to get taxis on New Year's Eve. Marina is proof that humans can build Venice with steroids, except that the gondolas are yachts at 3 a.m. blasting EDM. So at the time, everyone lived here. So when they announced that they want to build here, everyone freaked out, and everyone thought, who in the world is going to want to live so far away? And that's what was said about Dubai Marina and the Palm. And Palm had other criticisms as well, as people thought it was never going to get made, etc. So there's always this skepticism that is the mixed reviews that you probably read about Dubai or learn about from people. That's always existed, and Dubai has basically proven everyone wrong throughout history.
That Palm Jumeirah exists at all.
If God had wanted an island in the shape of a palm tree in the ocean, he'd have put one here.
Engineers must race against time and battle constantly with the forces of nature. This is a megastructure they thought could never be built.
So, but this was the original announcement that this is what we're going to do. These two insane things is what we're interested in, today, back 22 years ago. So that's where the city sort of moved from this area. And then today, if you look at it, so if you compare this to London, there's one city center in the center, and then everyone's just moving out based on lower rents, new housing. It's going away from the center. So then this was the center back in 2002, 2001, 2000s, and then they launched 2 new city centers. At the time, we didn't know that this was going to become a city center, but then it did. And now, unlike most cities, because we're a rectangular city in shape, now we have 2 city centers. So we have offices throughout here and offices throughout here. As well as this. So these are the 2 major city centers. So now for the average Joe who just wants to, go to his office, sleep at night, and not pay crazy amounts of rent like in downtown and Marina, where do the average people go? They go here, which are suburban neighborhoods. So that's what you're looking at. So if you just quickly summarize, so there are 2 ways that I'm going to use both combinations. So you can think of this piece of land over here as zone 1, and then this piece of land as zone 2, and then this whole thing as zone 3. But this is not accurate at all, but that will just give you a rough idea. So that's one way of looking at it. But the way I have broken it down is you've got category 1, which is fully or almost fully established areas. So that's downtown, and that's Marina, JBR, JLT, Palm Jumeirah. So you have these fully established neighborhoods where people have been living there for about 20 years or so, or 18, 19 years, and they're almost completely established, except for the last few plots which are remaining and you can buy here. So this is more for an investor who wants to live there themselves, or buy sort of like a trophy property, for example, the Mercedes-Benz or Bugatti residences, or Jacob & Co., or you have the Marina where, you know, one or two developments are left or around it. Then you've got the Palm Jumeirah and Ima beachfront. So you have these areas which are almost completely done. The prices have already escalated. They are going to escalate even further, but to the majority of it has escalated already. There's always going to be exceptions in whatever I'm talking about, and there's always going to be places where money can be made. But as a whole, in general, if you're planning to move yourself and you're going to be setting up a business and you want to be walking distance to your office, then these are the ones for you. For the average Joe, they made these suburban neighborhoods. Now there are different neighborhoods here, but I'm going to be breaking down just one or two. So for example, you've got JVC, which is Jumeirah Village Circle. So, and that's what you're going to be doing there for the rest of your life, circling for the next exit. So that's one neighborhood. Then you've got Arjan and Science Park, which is basically the same area. Then you've got Dubai Sports City, you've got Motor City, and you've got Studio City. And then I've left a couple of communities. But these are the open communities where anyone can build. There's all sorts of developers here. There's high-end finish and quality from some, and then there's completely pathetic developments, what I call cockroach buildings as well. So you have a mix of so many things, but then if you also take a look, which is this, and now I'm going to explain why Zone 1, Zone 2, Zone 3 doesn't work. Now, some of the most expensive properties in Dubai are in Emirates Hills and then in Arabian Ranches, as an example, or even Meydan District 1. So these are some of the most expensive properties as well, after the Palm, sometimes more than some of the villas on the Palm. So even though they're located in Zone 2 and 3, they sometimes beat prices of Zone 1 because they're gated communities, and now they're prestigious or legacy communities. So now they have history and prestige behind them. Because of the kind of people that stay there, and the supply has been basically taken off the market. So whoever is selling is making a lot of appreciation in that. So that's what gated communities tend to do. So that was why Zone 1, Zone 2, Zone 3 almost never works as a justification. So just to give you a bit of a rundown on townhouses and villas, between these two roads, the majority of our townhouses and villas are located. So this is where our housing is. Most of it is in Zone 3, I would say, if that helps you understand. So if you're looking for houses and you don't want to pay 20 million quid over here, even here actually, but if you're looking for housing, it's going to be somewhere here. So it can be, and now the map is expanding to further below. So now the map is going somewhere here as well. So we'll have developments going here as well. So beyond Zone 3, if you want to think about it like that, that's where we're headed as well. So that is also going to get developed very soon. So you've understood townhouses, category 1, which is the trophy properties, category 2, which is the affordable suburban neighborhoods, and now category 3 is the most exciting for investors, which is this plot of land right here, or for example even this. I'll just zoom in into these. That's Dubai Islands, and the reason that is interesting is because this is downtown's version of the Palm. So from the Palm you can see the skyline of Dubai Marina, and that's what you're surrounded by, but you don't have a waterfront community or island community where your view is the skyline of downtown. So this is the answer to so if somebody works in downtown Business Bay, DIFC, the bankers, etc., and they want to live on the water, Palm Jumeirah is not really ideal for them. So this is where they would be residing. So this is a brand new neighborhood for investors, which is you're early into this. Same goes for Maritime City, which is right next to it. So there are certain things you can do over here. And then this is Dubai South. Now, Dubai South is the most interesting one because there is $35 billion of investment going into this region. By region, I mean, so this plot of land is going to be the new airport where $35 billion are being invested. Now, this area is surrounded by Damac right here, and then you have Emaar over here, and then Emaar over here, and right below that as well over here. So it's surrounded by a lot of developments. So Emaar is right here as well, and then you've got Azizi right here, and you've got a few more Hayat, etc. But basically, you have so many developers coming into this region. You have the government's investment coming into the region, and there's a very strategic. This is a strategic move because what they're trying to do, and this is one of the key 5 areas in the urban master plan of 2040. So if you go to Dubai2040.ae, you'll be able to see that this entire patch of land is super important moving forward because you have the trade ports over here. So, and then you have the logistics city right here. So if you wanted to store your products or do something to those products, you would be able to do that over here. And then you've got the airport right here, and the Etihad rail is also connecting right here. So you have the sea over here, you have the land over here, and transport to Abu Dhabi, to Sharjah, to Dubai, and then you have the storage over here, you have air over here, and then rail out here. So you have all the necessary frameworks required for trade, to boost trade, everything in this region. And that is why these, all the developers are going crazy out here, buying up plots and developing so that you have housing for the residents that are supposed to be here by 2033, which is when the new airport opens up, which is the world's largest. So you have 1 million residents as stated by the government who they want to shift out here or bring out here with the jobs that are going to be created. Emirates is going to be moving here. So that's an interesting thing as well. So another example would be right here, Meydan Horizon. A lot of things are happening here. This is the wildlife sanctuary, which we call Russell Core Wildlife Sanctuary. So this is all natural, and you've got birds out here. So you've got a couple of developments here, and a couple of them here. You've got Creek Harbour here, and then you've got Meydan over here. Now this is Mohammed bin Rashid City, named after the ruler of Dubai, and this is called Meydan Horizon. So this is also a very interesting area to look at as an investor, and it's also very close to downtown and Marina. So this is also very close to downtown. This is a 5-10 minute journey to downtown over here. So these are the important areas for investors to keep a lookout for in category 3. So there is a simple way to think about it, with exceptions and everything I'm going to say again, but there is a simple way to think about it. So if you're investing in downtown or the Marina or the Palm or any of these established communities, like any other city in the world, you're probably not investing there for rental returns because the rental returns are quite low in these areas, at least as of today. But as you hold on to the property, of course, the rents keep climbing and climbing, and that's obviously a different topic. But the idea to invest here is so that 15 years from now, when downtown is fully complete, in the next 5-10 years, downtown Marina Palm will be fully done with no more plots left to sell. You will be in a position where you have the nicest, newest property in these legacy communities or in these city central locations, because the center is not going to be changing beyond this. There will be additions to the city centers, but these will continue to remain the business hubs or parts of the business hubs of Dubai. So you're going to be holding on to a luxury property in these communities, the nicest one, after 15 years. And that's how you think about it. That 2040 in Dubai, do you think it's going to be easier to buy property in terms of prices, or do you think it's going to be a lot harder to get into these areas for the average Joe? So that's how you have to think about it. because 2040 Dubai is going to be very different from 2025 Dubai. 2025 Dubai is very different from 2020 Dubai. So that is how you learn how to think about these situations. And then you have the category 2, like I said. So if you're looking at just a stable rental return of about 8 to 10%, and if you're just trying to build up your cash flow and you're looking for a payment plan, now you're trying to get the art of the deal here, where the deal is structured in a way that very little of your capital is invested here, because these are semi-established. They're not fully established. There's a long way to go still here, 10 to 15 years for this to be fully established, unlike, for example, downtown and Marina, which will be done in the next 3 to 5 years. So you're going to be looking at cash flow for your daily needs if you're looking to retire in the let's say in the next 5 to 10 years, and you want to set up 5, 10, 15 properties which will give you rental returns. That's the area to be if you're not looking to sell, because most of these are so indistinguishable. There's nothing special about most of them. So 99% of the supply here is just the same thing. You're looking at, your view is going to be either your neighbor's balcony, or the best thing you can get is a swimming pool. Again, there's exceptions, and sometimes there are really good deals here, but it's not meant for you for your £300,000 investment to suddenly become 600,000 in the next 5 years. So that's not happening here. For that kind of thing, you go to category 3, which is where you're early as an investor. So what are you looking for from this purchase? And if you're looking for a safe sort of bet, safe opportunity where you're getting your rental returns, go for the category 2. There's some here, there's some here. So it's just about figuring out which one is allowing your capital to be used most effectively with the payment plan, with how the deal is structured, sometimes you get discounts in these locations from these developers. But still, I would encourage you to make sure that what you're buying is as distinguishable as possible. So the question you should be asking yourself in these locations is that when you go and sell, the question that should have a positive answer is my property interesting enough for someone to give me more money than what I paid for it in 3 years or 5 years or 10 years? Is it interesting enough compared to everything else that exists here? And if you're buying the same thing that exists here, 99% of the supply, then you're in a bit of a pickle. But other than that, if you're making sure that your property is interesting, it's got a new kind of amenity that the developer's giving you within the development, then yeah, go for it. Or if you've got golf course views, there is one golf course here, actually 2 around, but if you're getting a nice view, go for it. So this is a little bit of what you need to be, because in apartments, yes, you do have to be careful. In townhouses and villas, it's a lot more easier. Just get your hands on whatever you can. Now, category 3, like we discussed, is for someone who has a clear vision that they can afford to hold on to the property for a longer period of time. And the reason I say this is because there's a lot of development, for example, coming over here. So sometimes I've seen the results of appreciation, and flippers make a lot of money in locations like these. Sometimes it is possible to get out of the purchase earlier with a lot of profit, but you cannot go into any property anywhere with the goal or with the plan in place to get out of it within the next 3 years, because you can't afford the full thing. But if your plan is clear that you can hold on to it for a longer period of time, go for these, because this is where obviously all of the investment is coming from the government, and this is where the city is headed towards next. And you know this is what's going to be interesting next in the next 5 to 8 years or 10 years. So for instance, over here we have a clear plan of 2033, which means you have to wait till 2033 to properly milk that cow. So if good things happen and you're able to sell it off for a great profit before that, that's great. That's always welcome. It does happen. It might happen, but you can't base your investment decision relying on it to happen. So that's how you approach these category 3 options. For example, even Dubai Islands right here. Dubai Islands has so many interesting things happening going for it. Now you have two golf courses here. There's a dog beach already ready here, and then you have villas coming over here, villas coming over here, and then you have so many apartments coming here. So again, you have to be careful with the view in Dubai, and apartments, most of them, you just have to be careful that you're getting something unique in some sense, and you'll be fine. But what's interesting is that this bridge is going to be connected to downtown within 15 minutes, and the airport is going to move by 2033. So all of the airport noise, the airplane noise, which is right, actually it's somewhere here, so that's going to go completely by 2033 is what we're expecting. But your idea or your goal is to pick up something and hold on to it till these things happen, till the infrastructure is made here, till all the villas are ready, till people have moved in, till this has become a place that is loved by its residents. And that's how you milk the cow in category 3. Now, before I end the guide on Dubai, I just wanted to bring two more important things to your notice. So first, outside of Dubai, an hour away from the city center of Dubai, or about 45 minutes away from the airport in Dubai, is the Wynn Casino that is coming in. Actually, this is old. Let me just open up. So you have the Wynn Casino coming over here, as you can see, by 2027 Q1. So you have a very interesting thing happening. This is what I call anchors of a location. So this is the anchor to what's happening around here. Like in a mall, a big hypermarket is an anchor. In a city, the touristy things that you do in Dubai are the anchors. So Royal Atlantis, the Atlantis Hotel, Burj Al Arab, Burj Khalifa is an anchor to the city. So you have a big anchor coming to Ras Al Khaimah, which is a city about an hour away from Dubai. And this island is getting this casino, which is the first ever, and it's a $4 billion investment from Vegas, from Greg Billings, from the Wynn Casino and Resorts Company. Now you have multiple publicly listed companies out here. So you've got Emaar out here, developing Emaar Address Hotel over here. Then you've got Dar Global, which is listed at the London Stock Exchange, making Estera residences with Aston Martin just over here. And then you've got Damac here, you've got these big companies, Taj, JW Marriott, you've got Zaha Hadid over here, JW is right here, you can see that. All of this interesting things are happening here. Then right next to it, you've got Soba's Cine Island, which is a natural gated community, natural island with lots of green all around it. And you've got this beautiful natural island right here, which is right next to the casino. So that's an option definitely to look at while it's still available. So this is one interesting thing that's happening to the north of Dubai. Then one interesting thing happening to the south of Dubai is the Disneyland announcement, which is again a long-term hold. Both of these things are in the category 3, but the Wynn Casino is going to be ready 2027, so you should be able to see your returns earlier. Whereas in Disney, which is going to take 8 years, 6 to 8 years to complete, if you have any properties right next to it, for example on Fahid Island, or even on Yas Island, or even here, so you're going to be looking at a lot of high returns in appreciation and with rental returns, but you have to hold on to it. So that's what I would recommend for category 3. So again, there are going to be exceptions in all of these categories where different goals can align with different areas, which you don't expect, but sometimes that can happen, and there are exceptions. So you can. So the idea is for you to have a basic generic sense of what's happening in the map of Dubai and in the city of Dubai, where the city is moving, what's established in the city, where do people work, where do people stay, which parts are expensive, which parts are not expensive. So which parts are, for example, the affordable neighborhoods, which roads are completely overrun with traffic. So these small things will help you get a basic sense of how to think about Dubai and how to think about yourself as an investor and your own goals from your property purchase. Once you know a bit more about yourself, then I can sort of organize your thoughts and organize what's aligning with your goals in the map, and that's how I structure the conversation. And all of this was just to answer the main question, where I call an investor who's inquired with us, and I reach out to them and they say, send me whatever you have. Now, as you can see, I have everything in the city. So that question in itself is redundant, and I don't like answering that question at all. I can't send you everything that I have, from £150,000 worth of investments to £15 million. So the idea is for you to get a basic sense of what you are looking for, so that you can tell me what I should do for you instead of the other way around. So some people come to me and say that their goal is to live in the property for the month of the year that they're here in Dubai, and also to be able to let it out with the short-term lets method. So that's not going to work for some people who come in with lower budgets, and I'll explain why. So if you're looking to put your property on short-term lets, for example, it has to be somewhere here for two reasons. The tourists here are coming for the water, for the beaches, and they need to be able to get around with the metro. And the metro is, let me just change the color. The metro is right here. So that's the metro. You can't expect that you'll get thousands of tourists who will look into staying in your apartment, in your affordable apartment that's not connected with the metro, and that's a 20-minute cab ride away from the beach. You can't expect for your funds to be optimized in this investment with such a low occupancy rate, so that you have a place to stay in Dubai for a month of the year. So if that is the goal, like I said, you have to be somewhere in the zone 1, for instance, connected via the tube, via the metro, and a little bit closer to the beach. So if that is your goal, you have to, your funds are optimized for that goal in these sort of locations, and not somewhere over here. I can't find a property, £150,000 property in some affordable neighborhood of Dubai, and have you expect that you'll have a 90% occupancy rate with tourists paying you big money to stay in that £150,000 studio 30 minutes away from the beach. That's not going to happen. I would rather, if you can't afford, for example, a waterfront property on the main island, then what you do, or somewhere here, I would much rather prefer you buy something here, let it out long-term lets to one tenant for 12 months or 24 months sometimes, and then whenever you come to Dubai, use that rental income to book something for yourself in downtown or Marina. Just book it via Airbnb yourself. You don't have to stay in your own apartment, but you can use that rental income, because that's more optimized for you in that scenario. So once you tell me what your goal is, you have to be open-minded to understanding how these things would work. Now, sometimes, there are exceptions even to this. So sometimes it might work depending on the development itself, and there's something super interesting on the market, which even a tourist might be interested in because of how it's managed, how it's built. So we can get into those nitty-gritties and details later on the call. But this is a way to think about your own investments and way to think about your own goals from this property purchase. And I'm just here to help you organize these thoughts and organize what works in which category, which location. So let me know if you have any questions in the comments below, or just reach out to me using WhatsApp. And then I hope understanding the map and basics of it helped you a bit. If you have any questions, if there's anything else you want to understand, reach out. I'm happy to help.